Welcome to Bass Talk with Hagen and Hayes. This is Series 3, and today is a bite-sized podcast about Bert Turetzky. Hi, Susan, how are you?
I'm doing well, David. How are you?
Very well, thanks. What do you know about Bert Turetzky, and which pieces of his have you played?
Well, I know that Bert Turetzky was an American composer, and I had heard of him for many years and had heard that a lot of his music has sort of like a fun, jazzy style to them. But the piece that I most recently played by him was the three short pieces for David, for you. And
Mm.
I had so much fun with these. The first movement is sort of in the Baroque style, and it quotes a whole bunch of Baroque pieces, and I love that. I just think it's so much fun, and each one was sort of like turn on a dime transition to a new melody that people should recognize, and the second movement of it was a romance, which was just stunningly beautiful, and I have to say my favorite movement of this collection was the finale because you play with chopsticks as if you're doing Colenio with your bow, but it's with chopsticks. And I remember when I performed it, I bought a special set of chopsticks from Japan because my chopsticks that I had were very old and this was going to be in a concert and I didn't want to be embarrassed by using old nasty chopsticks. So I bought a set of hand painted, really beautiful chopsticks. But it was really cool because it was one of those pieces that I thought my traditionalists who go to recitals might think, "Ugh, what is going on here?" But even the traditionalists loved it. They just thought it was really cool. Now
I
tell
had
tell us
exactly the
about.
same. Yeah, I had exactly the same reaction because I knew the first movement would be okay, and I knew the romance, which is just in harmonics, would be okay. But this third one, where you're also playing below the bridge on the strings and making all these different sounds, and I said to the audience, I think it was a Sunday afternoon concert, I said, I'm not sure if Farnham is ready for this one yet, but I'm going to give it a go. And afterwards, I said, it was really interesting. It was really nice. And he took a long time writing those for me. He was so lovely because he said, I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be so right. And that was so nice. I thought Bert and I have been friends for many years. And I first saw his name, wow, when I was still at school, which is over 40 years ago now. And I think we had a music magazine and it listed lots of concerts in London. And I think he was playing in London with his wife Nancy, so all this repertoire for flute and bass. And I remember trying to buy copies of all this repertoire. And then I learned about Bert and then we became friends. And I think he phoned me or wrote to me. And I think he said, Dear Mr. Hayes. And I thought, one of my heroes. And he's calling me Mr. Hayes. And we became firm friends, and we've been friends ever since.
Love that.
Came to Bass Fest, and we had a Bert concert, and I organised um, celebration when Bert was 85,
Mm.
and I commissioned lots of pieces, and I think you've played lots of these pieces.
Yes, I have, and I've been in contact with him because he heard I was playing, some of his music, and so we've emailed back and forth, and what a kind and nice soul, just a really good guy, and I remember thinking, "Geez, I've known his name since I was, a very young bass player," and like you, it's amazing to receive an email from someone as if you're almost, like, on the same level of colleagueship, which isn't a word. And I felt honored because, it could have been like, "I don't know who you are, but I guess you played my music." He just wasn't like that at all. He was so kind. I loved it. Made it made me like his music even more knowing that he's a good person?
Yeah. We used to write to each other. He's not so wasn't so good electronically.
Mm.
Latterly, I used to get some emails, but he'd put the message in the subject folder, thing at the top. So it was, you
A
know.
long
But,
subject.
but then sometimes you get an ex student or someone to write the email for him. But I kept all his letters, and he's a larger than life character, and the letters are the same. He'd start out with black ink. And then he'd stick a picture in of a bass, and then he'd go into blue ink, and then there'd be another picture or something, and then he'd go into red ink, and then there'd be green ink. And so
Just show he's so creative.
every letter was unique. And it was so nice because he sent me all his CDs. I've got a whole collection of Bert CDs, and yeah, and we'd stayed friends, and just so lovely and so kind and complimentary all the time. He used to say, "Thank you so much for your friendship." We've been friends, it must be 25 years or something like that. And Nancy came as well to Bass Fest, and they played a beautiful recital. So it was nice.
Right.
Mm.
I know what we're both gonna do this evening is probably just send him a little hello email because he's on our minds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I keep writing to him.
It's good.
I think is he about 90, I think now.
I think he is, yeah.
And he doesn't write anymore. He doesn't keep in contact so much. So maybe he's not so well. I don't know. But I still write anyway. Because it's nice to receive a letter, I think.
Yes, I think it is, and I think this is a good opportunity to tell people to check out Bert's music and
Exactly.
read up more about him, and
Yeah.
thank you, everybody, for listening to a second bite-sized podcast of Hagen and Hayes, and thank you to Double Bass Headquarters and to grayscalerdesign.net for being so supportive of our ventures, and we look forward to having you listen to our next bite-sized podcast.
Bye.
Bye-bye.